So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Colby. I am a senior security consultant and data security lead here at Atmosera. I have over 10 years of cybersecurity experience. In more recent years, I've been geared towards data security and more recently AI security, which is why we're here today. I'm also joined by Rachel Snowbeck, the director of marketing here at Atmosera. She's the mastermind behind all of this and brought up the great idea of hosting a Security Copilot webinar. For those of you who aren't familiar with Atmosera and what we do, we offer a wide range of services. We have a professional services organization that handles various domains such as app innovation, data and analytics, GitHub security, DevOps, security consulting, so on and so forth. And then we also offer various managed services across these domains. And then we also have a training department that can help with any of your needs of getting your employees educated and informed with various Microsoft products. So let's go ahead and dive on in. I first want to talk about the various forms of copilots that are running out there in the wild today. There's a lot of confusion, and understandably so, as to which copilot does what, which of them are designed a certain way. Some people even think because they have one copilot license, they have access to all the various other copilots. So I want to break those. I'm going to spend some time and kind of just break each one of these Copilot products down. So first up, we have Security Copilot, and this is a AI security system that was created with security in mind. It was designed specifically for security professionals and their efforts and their tasks. And then we have the Microsoft 365 Copilot, which is really geared towards the business users whenever you're using the various Microsoft products like Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It'll help, this Copilot, what's going to help boost your creativity and productivity by automatically summarizing your emails, summarizing your meetings, drafting up emails and slide decks for you in moments. And so that's what that Copilot product does. Moving over to the Microsoft Copilot, this is the most widely used Copilot. It's web-based. It's the one that you access via the internet, or if you're on a Windows machine, it's that little Copilot icon down in your taskbar. This Copilot has been trained specifically to with data and information from the internet. So whenever you ask it a question, it's going to provide you with links and material from the internet. And so there's two kind of experiences involved with that Copilot product. There's the personal experience where you sign in with your personal email, and then there's the work experience where you sign in and use your work email. And with that work experience, you have additional benefits there, such as the enterprise data protection, where there's data privacy controls in place when you're accessing that product. The last Copilot I want to talk about here is the Copilot in Azure. That is the little pop-up you see when you access portal.azure.com, and that Copilot has been designed specifically to help users understand the various resources and across their organization and help manage their cloud estate and generate scripts and understand context across those resources, and also with troubleshooting as well. And so across all of these various Copilot products, you're going to see they all leverage the open AI GPT-4 models in their trainings and being molded into those specific products to meet those specific needs. There's also various other Copilots that are out there as well. Popular one is like the GitHub Copilot or the Power BI Copilot, but those don't often get confused with Security Copilot. And so I'm going to walk you through more of those differences as we go along. To give a more in-depth overview of what Security Copilot does, like I said, it is secure by design. Microsoft, when designing this 2 years ago, they created a security trust boundary. And what that means is that no matter what data that you're interacting with within Security Copilot, it's not leaving your tenant. It's not leaving your Azure tenant. It's not leaving your Azure environment. No matter where that data goes, whether that data's at rest or in transit, it's always going to be encrypted with AES 256 and TLS 1.2. Part of designing Security Copilot, they've also built out the RBAC, role-based access controls for the various needs of organizations, so security users aren't getting over permission controls to this product. And the last major call out I want to make on the design aspect is the responsible AI that has been built into this. I call it a moral framework into the product. So when they were designing this, they trained it with this moral framework to be ethical, to be accurate, to understand the intent of the user, and to make sure that this product can't be abused, misused, and used for malicious purposes. So I thought that was just really, it's really amazing to consider when leveraging this product. Moving on to the key features, why everyone's curious about Security Copilot, what it can do, what are the main capabilities of Security Copilot. It has what's called prompts, which you could just consider it like a ChatGPT interaction prompt where you're asking it a question and then it scours the internet and comes back. So that's what the prompts do. You can ask it questions and then it scours your security products that you've integrated in Security Copilot, and it'll provide you an answer. And so that's where it's getting you those enriched insights, because it's using all of those products, not just one. Then you have the prompt books, which acts like a series of questions for you that are Microsoft includes pre-built prompt books for you, where it can ask a series of questions related to a security incident, or maybe a new vulnerability, a new CVE was released. It can code through and provide you information and insights into those types of threats that are going on. And that takes us to the threat intelligence aspect of it. It has the Defender for Threat Intelligence built into it, so it's going to connect any kind of incidents, any kind of threats, or any kind of vulnerabilities in your organization, and it's going to tie in all of those threat actors, malicious IP addresses, indicators of compromises, the MITRE techniques, things like that. So that's where that aspect comes into play. Then a hot topic of the past few weeks is the recent AI agents release. And what those do, Microsoft has spent the time to create these generative AI agents that are going to go through and help automate a lot of high volume type alerts, or help with your troubleshooting efforts, whether it's in Entra or in Intune. And we're going to talk more about that here shortly. And then the main other feature that I want to call out is not only that it can just handle alerts and incidents and things like that, it can also help with your security posture within Azure, within your Defender for Cloud. You have all of those Microsoft security benchmarks out there that you got that secure score you're constantly trying to improve. Security Copilot can go in and help create and prioritize recommendations for you, and also help with the remediation aspects of it and reporting as well. Then we have the user experience that you're going to hear me talk about. There is a standalone experience where it's its own portal, and that's where you go to get everything started. You get your Security Copilot workspace spun up. You get all of your Microsoft and non-Microsoft products connected and plugged in, and manage the permissions there. Then you're going to hear me talk about the embedded experiences, where those are the little Copilot icons that you see in your Microsoft Purview, your Defender for XDR, your Microsoft Intune. A lot of people try to click on those and leverage that Copilot because they have the Microsoft Copilot, and it won't work. It says something about a license. That's because it's all of those security Copilots that are in those products all link back to Security Copilot. Security Copilot's been around for roughly 2 years now, about a year in design, and it's been generally available for a year. And in that time span, Microsoft has been knocking out all kinds of compliance and regulatory certifications. So those of you who are compliance minded, I wanted to save that bit there for you. Security Copilot also has various forms of supported languages. So one thing that I thought was interesting in the design and building of this product is that the AI models that work behind the scenes on the Microsoft side is that it's trained with 8 languages, but in the user interface itself, it has 24 languages supported. So users can, if a user speaks Afrikaans or some other not highly notarized language, you can still leverage the product, but that AI model is going to translate that language into, let's say, English, French, or German, and then once it's done doing its processing, it's going to return its modified prompt back into that native language of those 24 languages. I thought that was pretty cool, and really wanted to call that out for people who are part of larger multinational organizations located across the world. The last major component of Security Copilot is the plugins. You can create, customize various plugins. You can leverage the Microsoft pre-built ones, or Microsoft has over 20 non-Microsoft supported vendors where you can plug in other vendors such as like Splunk, SIMS, and CyberArk, Saviynt, things like that. You can get those plugged in and ingesting logs and alerts into Security Copilot as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about connectors here shortly. So let's talk about how Security Copilot works, what happens behind the scenes here. And whenever a user enters in a prompt within Security Copilot, what happens, what takes place, and this Microsoft graph really illustrates this well. So whenever you put in that first prompt and you send it out to Security Copilot, what's happening behind the scenes here is what's called grounding. And part of the pre-processing part of grounding is that it's taking that prompt and it's trying to figure it out. It's trying to understand it. And what's the context? It's trying to contextualize your ask and possibly modify it, reformat it to make it to have it make more sense. Maybe there's grammar issues, or it's trying to understand your intent. And once it's done there, it's going to take it to that product and gather all of that data and information that's tied to that prompt of what you're asking, what you're looking for. And then it's going to take that over to the large language model for further processing, and then that's where the responsible AI comes into play here, and it's going to transform that data into something that's understandable for us, the user. And with responsible AI, it's going to make sure that there's nothing malicious involved there, there's nothing unethical, maybe, and to prevent any sort of malicious tampering within Security Copilot. So it's making a safe and secure and reliable product for you. And so once it's done with that, the LLM and responsible AI, it's going to route that response on through Security Copilot, through the products, and into your user prompt, which all of this takes place a lot of times in just mere seconds. So it's just incredibly impressive what's happening here behind the scenes. There's also some security callouts that I'd really like to make. Is here on the exterior, you have the dotted line of the Microsoft Security Trust Boundary. This is where I was talking about that data, no matter where it's going, it's always going to stay inside your tenant and surrounding your security product. There are some parts where with the third-party products can come inside, depending on your connectors and workflows, but that's it. So another call out here is all the various locks on all of the different process steps. That's where that data transit encryption comes into play, where it's going to be secure no matter where it goes with that TLS encryption. And one last thing that I want to call out here is with the Microsoft Security Copilot instance, Microsoft creates instances and spins up workspaces for each client or customer's environment. So whenever you spin up a workspace, that's in your environment, it's staying there, and you're not reaching out to a product that's being shared across various other customers. So you don't have to worry about that data being intertwined or potentially used by other organizations. So let's talk about the user experiences. I've talked a little bit about the standalone experience, but what does it look like? Here I've provided a couple of screenshots of what it looks like here in whenever you plug in all of those data sources I've mentioned, all of your Azure Firewall, your Sentinel or SIEM, your XDR portals, things like that. You now have a single pane of glass across all of your security estate, across all of those information and insights. And so that's what we mean by enriched insights. It's giving you that guidance across the products. You can now intertwine all of those different alerts that are occurring across these platforms and tie them all to one user and mitigate them or remediate or close those alerts out all at the same time. or provide just further insight in your investigations. And that's what it kind of gears towards on the screenshot on the right. So let's say you get a security alert and you're investigating, and you need to understand what if this script is malicious or not. You can paste that script in there, and Security Copilot in the standalone experience can help run a prompt book, and it's going to tie in, and it's going to look, is this malicious? Is this identified with the threat intelligence indicators? Are there any IOCs tied to this? This prompt book, what Security Copilot really does is it's taking care of a lot of those manual and mundane tasks for you. So you're not having to go and reach out to Google and look across 20 different sites. All of this, it's going to automate those types of tasks for you. And then in the standalone experience, this is where you're going to set up the permissions. This is where you can configure all of the different in various plugins or connectors. You can't do that in the embedded experiences, which we're going to talk about now. So within the embedded experience, this is when you're in the Defender XDR portal, in Defender for Cloud, Purview, Entra, and you see that Copilot icon up at the top, and you want to interact with it. These are those natively embedded copilots. This experience means that you are limited to that product when leveraging Security Copilot. So if I'm in the Entra ID experience, I'm in that product, I'm trying to use that Security Copilot, I'm limited only to the information that's available within Entra ID. I'm not able to pull all kinds of various information from Intune or from another source like Azure Firewall. So you got to think about the embedded experiences. It has its own use cases. So if you want to investigate further on an incident from that you found in the standalone experience, you want to drill down a bit further. I provided the screenshot on the right to help illustrate what the embedded experience can do. So what's happening here is you get an alert. There's a bunch of different events that are occurring, and you're trying to understand whether this script is malicious or not. And what's happening here is that you can see that there's a PowerShell script that has been ran, but it was encrypted. And so with the combination of Defender XDR and Security Copilot, it's able to analyze that. It understands that this is a script, but it was encrypted. Let's decrypt it, let's decode it. Now let's take a look at it. So you can click the little Analyze Copilot icon that's showing there in your dashboard, and it's going to go ahead and run a script analysis for you and help you determine whether that script was truly malicious or not. So that's just, once again, saving you so much time. If you're a SOC analyst or something, it's going to help summarize those alerts. It's going to help you with the investigation steps, and it can even help you with those remedial steps. It can give that guided response, and it can look up, hey, this type of script is tied to this threat actor. These are the steps you need to perform, or scripts or whatever it may be, to perform to mitigate this threat from that endpoint. So they're, once again, saving you even more time on the remediation side of your workload. Moving on to the plugin and connectors. This is where you can enable and control your various Microsoft security products. Maybe you don't want Azure Firewall operating within Security Copilot just yet, but you want the other security products ingesting into Security Copilot. You can customize and manage those, and even manage the controls behind them with the role-based access controls. You can even, and then this is also where you would go in and add in your third-party plugins. You can even create your own if you really are daring, and you can leverage the various skills available to help spin up those and start integrating those other products into Security Copilot to bring in even more insights into the product. Then we have the connectors, which are really only used for, I call it niche or unique scenarios. I think AI agents are going to be taking this type of activity over. And so what a connector does is you can set up a logic app or a power app of some sort, and it can help based off of a third-party product or somewhere from the outside, you're going to have it kick off some sort of Security Copilot activity like a prompt book. So the scenario I like to explain here is that, let's say you have a site that you use for whenever new CVEs come out. In any CVE that comes out with a 9 or higher severity, you want it to kick off a request and have Security Copilot run a prompt book against that CVE. And so part of that prompt book you can have and create, customize, is a vulnerability impact assessment. And what it'll do is it'll take that CVE, it's going to take that article, it's going to read that article, digest it. It's going to see that, hey, there's a tied to this Windows patch, there's this vulnerability out there that it's a remote code execution, and you have to do X, Y, and Z in order to mitigate it. You have 23 devices in your organization that are vulnerable tied to the CVE. It's going to do all of those steps for you. So it's going to perform your analysis, it's going to perform the investigation, the internal assessment, and provide a recommendation for remediations. All of this is just at your fingertips. This could operate at 2 a.m. and by the time you come in and not even finish your coffee, you already have your remediation efforts scheduled and ready to perform on a high risk, high severity CVE. So that just shows how cool and all of these capabilities within Security Copilot can do. Let's talk about AI agents. Like I said, this is a hot topic here, and let's talk about it. What can it do? What is it? What can it do? So the AI agents are specifically, they operate similarly to, like I said, with those connectors and running like a logic app. It gets rid of you having to manually create a logic app, to manually creating a workflow, to having to constantly test and spend a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time to do that. And so oftentimes those fail, or you just don't have time to create more playbooks. Here with the AI agents, they're designed to optimize and automate your high volume alerts. And an example that I wanted to include here is that there is a phishing triage agent that Microsoft has published to help with those types of events. I've worked in SecOps before, and I know what it's like to have to constantly spend time closing out false positive phish emails or people who report phish, and it comes in as an alert and it was just spam, or it was an internal company communication that they thought was suspicious. And so you're constantly wasting time pressing false positive and having to close it out and just wasting time reviewing those details. Well, with this AI agent, it's going to automatically know, because you're going to help supervise and train it to detect those types of things. A lot of times it's going to figure it out on its own, and it'll help automate and close out those like I said, manual and mundane tasks that you have to perform within a SOC. So that's just one example of what an AI agent can do. It can even, the phishing one can even go in and help with their remediation efforts. If one is deemed a true positive, it can help identify the other people who have received that same phish and clear those out and remove that type of threat. AI agents can also help with troubleshooting efforts. So there is like a conditional access optimization one, or a workflow one for Entra. They have one for Intune for a vulnerability improvement or vulnerability remediation agent that's going to help you. It's going to perform all of those manual tasks, like I mentioned. It's going to go ahead and identify the devices that are at risk or high risk. It's going to provide recommendations on what to do about it, and it even has a kind of one-click policy or a one-click fix to remediate those types of vulnerabilities. So just think of all the time that's being saved by leveraging these AI agents in your organization. I mean, there's some for Microsoft Purview, TLP, Insider Risk Management, to help classify and triage those type of events. There's even a threat intelligence briefing agent that can be ran daily or on demand. And what it'll do, it's going to scan all the threat intelligence information out there and available in the world by Microsoft, and it's going to identify the latest threat actors and what that means for you, or the latest threat trends, and connect those to vulnerabilities in your organization, and create recommendations to mitigate those latest trending of threats and how to mitigate them. So I thought that was another great call out. There's even partner developed agents, AI agents that are out there. So these types of AI agents are going to help you become more proactive and go on the hunt, and instead of having to constantly put out fires all the time. And so you'll go from that reactive to proactive state. So we've learned about the tech, we've learned how it works, we know the ins and outs of what it can do for Security Copilot, but let's change pace here and take a look at some of the roles. Let's hop into what it would be like a security analyst, an identity admin, or an IT admin. What are the benefits? What are the use cases for these types of roles? What do we expect to get out of them? Well, I think you know by now, for like a security analyst, you're going to see a lot of SOC automation there, where it's getting rid of those manual efforts. It still requires that human supervision when handling those investigations and things like that, incident response, but it's also there to help create your KQL queries. So one thing that I want to call out here is that when I use a Microsoft Copilot, the web version, and I'm asking to get tips on KQL query creations, and it's not very good. With the Security Copilot, this is designed for security. It's designed specifically to build highly complex KQL queries at your fingertips for you. And so that's something else that you can need to consider, is it's going to help you create all of these various queries and alerts, analytic rules that you've been dying to have time to spend on, and it's going to help automate those. You just have to monitor them, tune them, and tailor them. So a lot of time is being saved there. Then you have the threat intelligence aspect of it, where you have your alerts, your incidents, or your threats out there, and then in Security Copilot, it's going to start connecting all of those threat actors, those indicator of compromises, to those types of events, to those incidents, to certain CVEs, things like that. So it's taking a lot of that manual effort in helping you there and giving you those enriched insights. The last component for as a security analyst, or maybe even a security engineer, is the optimization of posture management. I thought this one might be probably my favorite, because I had to work in Defender for Cloud and constantly have to perform recommendations and delegate recommendations of posture, like Defender for Cloud, the Microsoft security benchmarks. And what I mean by that is you have all these high risk recommendations out there that you have to work with other teams, and you've had to reach out to platform engineering or the DevOps team. There's some infrastructure as code that's bad, that needs fixed. It's high risk, and then you're burdening that other team, and they have to spend time figuring out what better code to use to get rid of that vulnerability there. And with Security Copilot, it can automatically it can prioritize your recommendations on what you should be focusing on, and it's going to help automate the guided response aspect of it in the recommendation part. So it's going to create new IAC code for those machines and for that team. So you're no longer burdening them with a major task of fixing that code. So that was one example that I wanted to call out there that I thought was really awesome, that Security Copilot can contribute for a SOC analyst. Then if you're an identity admin, the AI agents can help with if you're lucky and you got the Entra ID governance license in your environment. I'm jealous. That's really awesome, because not only you have your lifecycle workflows, but now with the AI agent, it can help improve those workflows. It can help create new workflows for you. It can provide recommendations. It's going to help that whole entire user lifecycle process of the joiner, remover, leaver. Then you also have the troubleshooting side of it. So with the conditional access agent, optimization agent, it's going to help, or just Security Copilot in general, these tools can go and help with your conditional access policies. You got all kinds of users complaining about getting 1,000 MFA prompts a day. Those Security Copilot can help identify the issue with that policy. Maybe there was a change that was made. Maybe there's an issue that happened on the application side itself, it's going to help identify that issue for you, so that median time to identification is going to be significantly reduced. You're going to be able to respond to these types of issues faster and identify them faster, and even improve those policies. So then we have the third role here is the IT admin, which is really specifically geared towards Intune. And what it can do is that, similarly to the IT or the identity admin, it can go in and I think of whenever I've been a new sysadmin and there's all these policies out there, nobody left a description on them. You don't know what these device policies do, the device compliance checks, what they mean, and you're scared to break something. Well, the Security Copilot can help you understand what these policies do. Maybe there's some issues with the policies. Maybe they're missing some devices from their scope and leaving those devices vulnerable. That's what it's designed to do with the enriched insights. Then you have the querying aspect of it. Let's say you have like the scenario of a bad Google Chrome update went out and it's causing users to max out their RAM. You've been hit with 20 tickets all saying the same thing. Well, whenever you inquire with Security Copilot about this, it can find and identify issues across those machines that are occurring, and it can pull up that issue of the CPU's maxed out based off of this Google Chrome update. So that's just saving you so much time during those business disruptions and preventing them from escalating further. And so to summarize the use cases here, that Microsoft has shown studies where the productivity on average is roughly about 30% for various security teams. And so we really want to think about that, what it can do. It can boost productivity, whether you're just a brand new SOC employee. You now have this Security Copilot, which acts like a highly seasoned security professional right at your fingertips 24/7, which is just amazing. It's helping automate all of those alerts that SOC teams across the world are just inundated with. So those are just some things to consider when thinking about leveraging Security Copilot. Let's talk about the scenarios of let's put ourselves in the shoes of a CISO, a security manager, or a security director. And what does that mean in those roles? I thought Security Copilot was just for a SOC analyst. No, it's meant for there's so much more available there for various roles, and even security leaders. So you can think about your SOC itself, your SOC team within your organization. We're getting boosted productivity, but what does that really mean? You're actually getting the reduction in your median time to resolution. You are potentially getting a reduction in your breach impact if one were to occur. And so if you think of really some worst case scenarios, you had previously a $3 million breach. With the aid of Security Copilot, it's going to reduce that potential impact to, let's say, maybe $2 million or even less, thanks to this product. So there's a lot of things that Security Copilot can aid and save your organization on. Then you have the threat hunting aspect of it. Let's say part of your roadmap for this year is you want your security team to go on the hunt for threat hunting. You want to be on that proactive state. You don't want to be constantly putting out fires and being on the defense all the time. Security Copilot is going to help you with that, with its automation of KQL queries, with its prompt books, with the AI agents going out and providing you various reports and insights into the various threats that are trending today. Then you have the productivity aspect of your security team, where if your team does reach that state of 30% time saved in your efforts, well, now they have more time to focus on other security projects. Let's say you never had time to integrate certain apps with single sign-on. Well, now your team has time to go and be more productive and improve your company's data or your security estate and make everyone's lives so much better. So those are some things to think about there. And then moving on to KPI insights, there's some things that I thought were quite interesting. You can pull up, leverage the metrics of like the median time for your security incident responders, how long it's taking them to close out incidents or to close out alerts, and how your various team members perform in comparison. And you can just ask Security Copilot to do this. So that was pretty, I thought that was something that was worth mentioning. And then lastly, we have the advanced reporting aspect of it, where if you're a CISO or even a new CISO and you guys are leveraging Security Copilot, you can start to inquire and ask Security Copilot, hey, what are the, I've included in these screenshots here, what are the latest threats that are happening across my organization based off of alerts, based off of exterior factors. And it can Security Copilot can ingest, analyze, and provide responses based off of what it finds in your organization and what's out there. And you can even take these things various steps further, and you can have Security Copilot create a roadmap for you to remediate those findings. And you can not only remediate it, but you can create, it's going to have the remedial steps involved, and you can translate it into a technical and non-technical terms. So if the technical story of it is you can share that with your internal team, and then the non-technical summaries is something that you can share with your business stakeholders, board of directors, things like that, and show off all of the great things that your team has been doing. You've got this fine polished roadmap already built. So it's not only a productivity product for SOC members, it's also highly beneficial to CISOs and security leaders. So that takes us to the question of, hey, this product sounds awesome. It's great. We want to leverage Security Copilot. We want to implement it right now or tomorrow. You want to kind of take a step back and think about the various considerations when implementing Security Copilot. It's not something that you want to just flip of a switch, turn on, and just figure things out as you go by. You hear the buzzwords, you hear the buzz terms of how it's going to boost productivity. It can do all these great things. 30% more of my time is back to me, but it's not that easy. It's not that simple. You want to think about certain considerations like the cost. I typically don't talk about cost in these types of decks, but it's something that can deter people. But you want to kind of think this through and understand what it truly means. So roughly speaking, the SCU, the security compute units, cost roughly $3,000 per month in the US. And then you also want to think about the connector costs, the hours of implementation, and what that means. You want to kind of document that and get clarity there into how much effort and money it's going to take. Then you want to document the objectives. What are your expectations out of this product? Are they even real? And then so you document those use cases in what is considered your success criteria, and you're gonna map those to the security controls within Security Copilot to see if they are even if it's possible, if it's realistic. You want to have a realistic approach. You want to have a structured approach to Security Copilot, and then you also want to track the metrics involved. You want to make sure and see how long it's taking to close out alerts before you've implemented Security Copilot in the first month after. And so what we want to do here is track each and every month to show the progress that's being made, how much what you're accomplishing, how much, to really show off that success and accomplishments. And then that comes to the proposal phase of this project, is that you want to, in your proposal, you're going to have all of the estimations, how much it's going to cost. You want to, instead of saying you want a whole year's worth of Security Copilot, which is equivalent to $30,000 or let's say $60,000, depending, that may be a difficult conversation with upper management, the chain of approvals. So it's better to do a pilot or a proof of concept of Security Copilot and see how it can truly benefit your organization. And that's something easier and more winnable to achieve. And maybe, Security Copilot's still early in its lifespan. So maybe there's some maturity aspects there that it's just not right for your organization just yet. So with doing a proof of concept, you're not committing to long-term agreements. You're wanting to see if it's worth it, if there's value there, and the price tag associated to it for a 3 to 4 month pilot is more winnable there, definitely. And then the last aspect of a plan is to get your team trained up and up to speed on how Security Copilot works. What are the capabilities? So they're educated on how it's used. You don't want them to just flip a switch and just figure things out as they go by, because you're just losing productivity and limiting their knowledge into this wonderful product. So moving on to the next phase in the adoption guide is that you want to go once you've gotten that approval, you want to get the Security Copilot workspace spun up, get your team the correct permissions, or whoever may be leveraging this product. And you also want to think about the leveraging zero trust, making sure that those users who are using this product, they're coming in from a compliant and secure device, that their identities are going through conditional access, making sure that they have the right permissions based off of role-based access controls, things like that. You really want to consider when leveraging this product, because you don't want this security product to get into the wrong hands. Then once you get that stood up, that workspace stood up and everything configured, you want to go in and start enabling, configuring your plugins, whether they're Microsoft related or third party. You want your Splunk, you want a SIM, you want CyberArk to get your privileged access management logs and alerts in there, things like that, and any sort of connectors, logic apps. And then it comes time to start testing, and you can leverage the Microsoft pre-built prompt books and AI agents, or you can customize your own prompt books or potentially agents to fit your organization's needs, and then start to testing those out and getting a better grasp of them. And then that leads into our productivity estimates here on the right that I want to mention. Per Microsoft, they talk about with the adoptions, what they've seen across various clients who are already leveraging this product. That first month, and this is why I recommend a 3 to 4 month pilot, is that in that first month, you're not going to see all those productive gains just yet. It's going to take time for your SOC member and your security team to get familiar with this product, to really learn it and use it and adopt it into their daily processes. So that first month, they're not going to be productive. There's even a slight loss in productivity. Then once that second month rolls around, they're familiar, they've learned the product, they're starting to really get to master it and leverage it, and now their productive gains are starting to come in. And then by the third month, we're starting to see that 30% marker that we hear about with Security Copilot. Now they're fully integrated with it, they're fully leveraging it, and so now we've reached that point, which leads us to the third phase in the adoption guide, which is assess. So you have been, you want to perform an analysis, you want to gather all of the accomplishments that have been made, that part of that tracking and monitoring of metrics. You're wanting to have those all documented. So at the end of the pilot, you can see what you accomplished, tie those into the goals and expectations out of the pilot. You want to gather that user feedback. Maybe certain team members liked Security Copilot, others didn't really find much use out of it. You want to identify improvements if it didn't go as well, or if you're like, hey, I really like Security Copilot, but if we had a bit more time, we should really do X, Y, and Z to improve that experience. And all of this information is going to get documented and built into a report or a findings document. And you want there to be, include high-level details of your analysis, what you found, a table of metrics, and really call out the cost to benefits ratio there, where, let's say Security Copilot costs $3,000 per month, but whenever you weighed the benefits, because you've documented all of them, that you can say, hey, we were never able to improve our security posture. We were never able to start proactive threat hunting. We weren't able to do all these things. Now we have now we have numbers to back up our efforts. We're making significant gains now, and you want to tie in a cost to that. So with that summary, that cost is $3,000. Maybe your benefits is $5,000 or $6,000. You're now getting an additional $2,000 to $3,000 in value per month out of this product. So that's what you really want to outline in this report. And then you want to have a recommendation whenever you're meeting with upper management, the chain of approval, whomever it may be, and say, hey, look, these were our findings. This is our final recommendation. We want to continue with Security Copilot, or maybe your experience was not so great and you thought that it still needs to mature a bit before you would adopt it entirely. And then that comes into the decision factor, and if it was truly valuable to your organization and you now have a document to help show off to leadership, look at all these great things that we did. And this is why we want to continue with Security Copilot for an extended period of time. So if you hadn't come up with a structured approach or this strategy, you may have gone through and said, yeah, I love Security Copilot, and your management says, well, what did you do with it? You just say, yeah, stuff. It's not very convincing. So you want to have this documented into a findings report. So those are some things to consider. So I hope this adoption guide was of value. And that leaves us to our webinar wrap up. So what we've learned today was that Security Copilot was designed and created with security in mind. It's there to help and make security professionals more productive with the speed and scale of AI. We also learned that there's all kinds of use cases for Security Copilot, not just for the SOC analysts. It's also highly beneficial and useful for IT admins and security leaders themselves. And then our last lesson learned was that you want to have a structured approach. You want to have a strategy when leveraging and implementing Security Copilot. With that strategy, it's going to help you ensure that you are set up for success with this awesome, wonderful AI security solution. So with that being said, we can go ahead and move on to questions. And it looks like there are no questions yet. If you have a question, feel free to drop them. I have provided a couple of sample questions here, just questions that I had to myself whenever I was first exploring Security Copilot a while back. Was that I was like, well, in the early stages, I was like, well, we have a SIEM, we have Azure Sentinel, we have a SIEM that's already doing playbooks, can automate some rules and things like that. How is Security Copilot going to further benefit us? And so I saw here recently a really cool equation that said SIEM plus SOAR plus generative AI equals next-gen automation. And what that means is Security Copilot's designed to complement your Sentinel and your Defender for XDR, your SOARs. And so what it's going to do is it's going to help automate those high volume. It's going to help automate those high volume alerts. Sentinel can't go into really extensive threat hunting. It can't just automatically create certain scripts for you. You have a lot of these things you still have to manually create, even with the logic apps tied to a Sentinel or to an analytics rule, things like that. There's a lot of care and feed involved with the AI agents, with the other aspects of Security Copilot. It's going to help automate those things for you, so you're not burning so much time on the engineering aspect and tuning of those items within Sentinel. Another question that I had that I thought about was how does the authentication work within Security Copilot, and does the Security Copilot need its own permissions, things like that? Security Copilot leverages what's called on behalf of, or OBO authentication, which also leverages the OAuth 2.0 protocol. So if I'm logging in and leveraging Security Copilot, Security Copilot's just using whatever permissions I have access to. So that's what that means. And then the last question here that I noted was that is Security Copilot available to people who are in the government cloud, or GCC. Currently, GCC is not available as generally available to people who are in the GCC cloud, so that's unfortunate. Okay, so it looks like that is all that we have for today, everybody. Thank you for joining today, and stay tuned for the next webinar. Thank you, everyone.